ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਜੁਨੀ ਸਹਿਬੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਪੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਪੀ ਸੱਚ ਏਕ ਅਦਤੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵਾ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਗੁਰ ਅੰਗਦ ਪੇਵਾ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਗੁਰ ਅਮਰ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਗੁਰਬਾਰੇ ਪੁਰਖ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਰਜਨ ਸੁਖਦਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਹਰਿ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਗੁਣ ਖਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਰਾਇ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਹਰਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਧਿਆਏ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਰਾਏ ਸਹਿਬੰ ਗੁਰ ਦਸਵੇਂ ਸਹਾਇ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਗੁਰ ਗਿਆਨਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਬੰਦਨ ਭਗਵਾਨਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਕਲਯੁਗ ਪਇਓ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਰੂਪ ਮਹਾਨ 10 ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਇਹੋ ਰੂਪ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਜੀ ਜਾਨ ਪੂਰਨ ਦੇਖਿਓ ਆਤਮਾ ਦ੍ਵੈਤਾ ਸਰਬ ਨਿਵਾਰ ਪੈ ਸੰਤ ਮਨ ਸੰਤੇ ਤਿਨ ਪਦ ਨਮੋ ਹਮਾਰ ਮੂਹ ਕੋ ਛਾਇ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਾਟ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਕਰਨ ਛੜ ਜਾਏ ਅੰਧ ਲਖਿਆ ਬਦਰੋ ਸਨੇ ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ कहा बुध पाप तो हमारी बन सके मैं माँ जो तहारी हम ना सकत कर सिर तुआनी आप ले हो तुम कथा सुधारी सो का हुटल गुरु से भी है सहज सवाय दर्शन पर से है गुरु के जन्म मरण दुख जाए दर्शन पर से है गुरु के जन्म मरण दुख जाए वाहिगुरु
सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जी तीर्थ नावा जे तिस पावा विन पाने के नाई करी जीती सेठ उपाय वेखा विन कर्मा के मिले लई मत विच रतन जवाहर मानक जे एक गुर की सिख सुनी गुरा एक देह बुझाई सबना जिया का एक दाता सो मैं विसर न जाई
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह गुरु रूप साध संगत जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह Today we're commencing the 6th Pauri of the Sri Japji Sahib. Within the first 5 Pauri, the Guru has been answering the questions and answers of the Siddhs. Within this Pauri, we're going to start off with the Tika, the Sampardaic Tika, Sant Gurbachan Singh Ji again. And we'll start off with the Tika of Sant Kirpal Singh Ji Satpagaliwale later on as well. Only because there's some differences within the stories that are told within to explain and help you understand the different lines of Gurbani. But basically what happens here is now that the Siddhs have listened to the definitions by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they've realised that this is an individual who would actually be able to help their movement, their order of Siddhs, and help propagate their faith within India. So what they decide is, let's see if we can trap Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the web of greed. If we were to do that and make Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji a follower of the Siddhs, then they would profit from it, because he would be able to spread their philosophy throughout India, because he's shown himself to be capable in this sort of manner, where he's been able to hold his own through conversation, through dialogue. So what they decide to do is then test Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So nearby, using their abilities, what they do is they fill up a local pool of water full of rich diamonds, emeralds and other riches, other jewels. And then they ask Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji to go over there and then use a small vessel, a small begging bowl, to go and get some water for them. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes, okay, I'll go and do that. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes there, sees that the pool is filled with jewels and emeralds and all sorts, and instead returns back with an empty bowl. The Siddhs are surprised to see this, because a normal person would go there and see the riches and see the abilities of the Siddhs and normally fall under their spell of greed. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji was no ordinary being. Well, he wasn't a being, he was the divine manifestation of Vaheguru, who had come in an adopted form to save mankind and give them the knowledge that was required. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji had come back and without anything from the pool. And the Siddhs asked, they said, look, why have you not taken any of the riches that were in the pool? Why have you not brought anything back? And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, look, I don't need any of that. I don't need any of the riches. And at that point the Siddhs say, well, if that's the case, well, why don't you come with us and we'll go to all the places of pilgrimage and take a ritual bath there. By doing so, you know, it will assist in your life. And what they were trying to do was get the Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji to go with them. But what the Siddhs were going to do was actually fly. They had the ability of it over their bodies and the abilities to fly and do all sorts. And they thought that if they would try this, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji were unable to fly to these places, then they would show their superiority to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So that's why they were saying, let's go to these religious places to do ritual bathing. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji heard this about the ritual bathing and replied,
Tirath Nava, Jetis Pava.
Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, look Siddhs, it's only worth going to bathe at the ritual places of worship if a person is going to have faith in Vaheguru or gain faith in Vaheguru. He goes, what is the point if a person is, you know, they live within the will of God and they go, but, you know, they should always have faith in the name of God in order to go to these places. And what is it that you should understand? That you should understand that God is here. God is the one who is doing everything. God is the one who's allowing everything to take place. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, but this sort of worship, ritual bathing, he goes, I'm not in favour of. I don't see the point in going from place to place to do ritual bathing in order to remember God. Because Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says in Gurbani, says, Tirath Navan Jao Tirath Nama. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, look, the internal pilgrimage is the one where you should be ritually bathing. You should be bathing in the name of God. That's where you should be doing that. Tirath Shabd Vichar Antar Gyan Hai. You know, the Tirath is the deliberation of the Shabd. And it is through this way, Tirath Gyan Hai, Antar Gyan Hai, that a person gains internal knowledge. Internal knowledge. You know, at the same time, this line is used by a lot of people to say that we do not need to go to the place of pilgrimage. We do not need to go to Darbar Sahib or places like that. You know, but Gurbani states again that you should go to ritualistic places of worship, but there should be faith in God in order to do so. Otherwise, you are just going there to have a bath. Basically, that is what you're doing. You should have faith in God. You know, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji have shown through Gurbani here that you can go to places of pilgrimage for worship. Sri Guru Ram Das Ji promoted the places of worship, ritualist bathing at Ram Das, you know, at Amritsar. And then Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji furthered that with the creation of Santokh Sar, with Ram Sar, with Kaul Sar, under Shemit Pasha you got Kaul Sar as well. And then obviously you got Babek Sar as well. So Shemit Pasha created those. And Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji created numerous places of worship, places of pilgrimage, the taksals. So they're all there. So here they're saying, look, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, look, if you want to go to the place of pilgrimage and bathe, then go. But my place of pilgrimage is within the name of God. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji continue.
Vinpane ke nai kari.
And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, look, without having faith, without having any faith in the name of God, what will you do? What can be done? So, if a person does not have faith in Vaheguru, then what will take place? He goes, without having faith in Vaheguru, he goes, what is a person going to gain? You know, so if you end up going to these places of pilgrimage, but you have no faith in God, or faith in why you are going there, then what are you going to gain? What you're basically doing is you are sightseeing. That is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is getting at. If you have no faith in God, then basically all you're doing is going to visit a place to look at its splendour and beauty. You're not going there in order to gain any merit because you believe in God. You will gain nothing. You will gain nothing at all. Antarmal jati ratanave jisbe kuntna jana. So it says that if you are unable to eradicate the internal filth that you have within you by washing at place of pilgrimage, then how are you supposed to go to the next world? How are you supposed to get to the heavens? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji say that. They say Navan challe tirath man kote tan chor. So the people who go to, there are those people who go to wash at the place of pilgrimage, but their minds are dirty, they are filthy, and their bodies are that of thieves. So how are they supposed to get rid of all their sins? They're not going to be able to get rid of their sins by just going to places of pilgrimage. It doesn't happen. So you have to have faith. And so Guru Nanak is saying, look, Sids, you have to have faith, and without having faith, going to a place of pilgrimage, you gain absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Sadhguru Gurbachan Singh Ji then goes on and gives two stories. There's one of Bhagat Kabir Ji, where Bhagat Kabir Ji are doing their bhajan simran at Kanchi, when a Pandit comes along and the Pandit says, look, I'm going to go for pilgrimage and ritual bathing, so why don't you come with me? And Bhagat Kabir Ji says, look, obviously, he goes, the Tirath that we believe in, the place of pilgrimage that we believe in, is the name of God. So for that reason, we're happy just bathing in that. But the Pandit wasn't happy with that. He wanted to take Bhagat Kabir Ji with him. He wanted to show that Bhagat Kabir Ji was under his influence. And instead, Bhagat Kabir Ji then gave him a small shell, seashell or a gourd shell, and said to him, look, take this with you. He goes, take this with you, it's special. And wash it in all the places of pilgrimage that you're going to. Wash it in all the waters that you are going to go to. So the Pandit did that, and he told the Pandit, make sure you bring that shell back after you washed it. In all of them. So he did. The Pandit went to the places of worship in order for his rituals and to become closer to God. And when he went there, he washed his shell as well. Eventually, after completing the pilgrimage, he came back to Bhagat Kabir Ji. And upon seeing Bhagat Kabir Ji, he handed him the shell that he had originally been given, and so said, "I've completed your worship you requested. This shell has been washed in accordance to your desire, and here it is. I've fulfilled what you required." And Bhagat Kabir Ji was here testing the Pandit. The shell had been washed in all of the waters. And what Bhagat Kabir Ji said was, look, I'm really pleased. Let me get you some dinner. It is of my duty to perform this ritual and to get you some food for what you've done for me. So Bhagat Kabir Ji then created this food, but then he created a chutney using the gourd shell which he ground up. Now the gourd shell is bitter, extremely bitter. And Bhagat Kabir Ji presented this food to the Pandit. The Pandit ate his food and had a bit of the chutney, and the bitterness was so much that it was like poison. And the Pandit cried out and explained, he said, what is this joke that you're playing on me? He's like, I've done this favour for you, and you've served me this food which tastes poisonous. And Bhagat Kabir Ji said, look, the purpose of going to a ritualistic place for worship, of bathing, is to purify yourself and become sweet inside and become happy and become all this. He goes, this gourd shell that you've taken to all these places of pilgrimage is what I have ground up. End of the day, it has been purified by God. And it is that I have given to you within your food to eat. And the Pandit said, yeah, but it tastes bitter. And he said, exactly. He goes, if a person does not have faith in the name of God and goes on a place of pilgrimage, it's exactly the same as this gourd shell, where they will just bathe in the waters, but without having faith in the name of God, the internal filth, the internal bitterness that a person has remains. And Bhagat Kabir Ji explained this to him and said, this is how people are. They go on these ritualist worships, but if they have no faith in the name of God, then they will be exactly the same. They will be bitter from the inside. So that's the first sakya that Sadhguru Gurbachan Singh Ji says here. They say, look, those people who have, who desire to wash in the seas and do things like that, without having faith in the name of God, without worshipping the name of God, all they're doing is exactly the same. They are just washing their bodies, and this way they will waste their time in this world, and in the next world they won't gain liberation as well. They will waste this opportunity. There's a second sakya of Tulsidas. Tulsidas was a version of scholar who wrote the Tulsi Ramayana, He lived at the time of the Gurus as well, and the Tulsi Ramayana is one of the most highly regarded Ramayana epics that has been written down. And within the Tulsi Ramayana, while Tulsi Das was writing that, he wrote another number of other texts like the Harvalis as well. But he decided at one point that he was going to go and do pilgrimage at Jagannath Puri. So he leaves home, tells all of his students and tells everybody, look, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to do the worship of the idols at Jagannath. I'm going to go and do everything there. I'm going to bathe there. And obviously that's ritualistic bathing that he needed to do. So he left for Jagannath Puri, but when he got there, he found somebody selling small idols, and he looked at one of the idols, and he was quite fond of it. So by doing that, he purchased one, and upon purchasing it, while his students were at his ashram back in Kanchi, Paramatma Vishnu turned up, or Vaheguru turned up in whatever form it was. It was the form of Vaheguru, turned up as a saint, and came to the ashram and asked the devotees, he said, where is Tulsidas? And they said, well, he's gone on ritualistic worship of the place of pilgrimage. And the Vaheguru in the form of the saint said, no, he hasn't. He goes, he's gone there to trade like a merchant and buy idols. And hearing that, the devotees were quite shocked, but the saint left, and the devotees waited. In that meantime, Tulsidas came back with his little idol, and he asked the devotees, had anybody come for him, asking for him, and said, yeah, it was strange, we had this saint come. And the saint asked, where is Tulsidas? And we explained where you were, and he said, no, you'd gone there to barter and be like a merchant and buy an idol. At that point, Tulsidas realised, he's like, oh, God had seen and realised that my mind wasn't focused on the worship of him, and I'd gone there, but I'd been I'd lost track of my mind, and I'd gone and brought this idol instead. So Tulsidas then decides, right, I'm going back to do my pilgrimage. Again, he tells all of his devotees that he's going. And his devotees say, yeah, that's fine, they're leaving again. So Tulsidas takes the idol back to give it back to the store owner. And again, God comes in the form of the saint, and he comes to the ashram again. And he asks the students again, he said, where is Tulsidas? And say, well, he's gone on pilgrimage to Jagannath. And again, the saint turns around and says, well, no, he hasn't. He's gone there again to barter. He's gone there to sell an item now. He's not gone there to do the worship of God. So again, this took place. The saint left. The devotees are again quite shocked about this. They don't understand what was actually taking place. But Tulsidas came back, and the great saint had been told of what had happened again, and he realised, again, yes, my mind wasn't focused. I was focused on taking this idol back because of my initial mistake. And then upon a third occasion, he went to Jagannath Puri, and the saint turned up and asked again. He said, where is Tulsidas? And the devotees again replied that he had gone on his pilgrimage, and the saint said, yes, he has. This time it will be complete. He has gone on to worship God this time. And in this way, Tulsidas completed his ritual pilgrimage, came back, asked what happened, obviously got told what was the reply this time, and realised he'd completed his pilgrimage this time. But the story shows again that if a person goes without faith, without conviction for, I'm going there because I'm there to worship God, to realise God, and it's because of God that I'm here, the actual pilgrimage is fruitless. And Tulsidas had to do it twice, which was fruitless, and then on the third occasion he completed it. And in this way, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji's actual quote in Gurbani did this, if a person wants to go to a place of pilgrimage, then they should do so with the faith of God within their mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there for the Pauri, and next time we'll pick up again from that exact place. So Kamalpreet Singh, if you could close up, please.
Tirath nava jetis pava vinpane ke nai kari jeti sisht pai vekha vir karma ke mile lei mat vich ratan jawahar manak je ek gur ki sikh suni gura ek dehe bujai ਸਭਨਾ ਜੀਆ ਕਾ ਇਕ ਦਾਤਾ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਵਿਸਰ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। हे गोबिंद हे गोपाल हे दयाल लाल प्राणनाथ अनाथ सखे दीन दर्द निवार। हे समर्थ अगम पूरन मोहे मैं अवतार अंधकूप महाभयान नानक पारे उतार। आए प्रभ शरणागति कृपा निध दयाल एक अखर हर मन वस्त नानक होत निहाल। एक अखर हर मन वस्त नानक होत निहाल। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह।